Flosstube. It's Elisa with E, Crafting in Colorado. Today's Friday, December 27th. It's the end of the year. This year went by pretty quick. I've been off this week, and I'm going to try to be off all of next week. So I've gotten a lot of stitching in, and it's been good. In fact, I'm kind of like, so this is what it would be like if I was to retire? And I'm like, yeah, come on, retirement, because I've enjoyed it that much. But this is not going to be a whip parade today. This is going to be just a regular Flosstube update. But before we jump in, I was kind of looking through things as to how my year went. I was only able to finish 4 projects, and 2 of them you will see today. They're not big ones. And then I finished 2 other projects, so a total of 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. But they were all pretty small. 3 of them being small ones, and then 1 was a Hade, Heaven and Earth design, but it was a half a Hade. So because I cropped it in half. So not a lot of finishes for this year. It's kind of disappointing, but you know. But one thing, when I was looking over what I had worked on, because this last year I had set goals for basically every project that I wanted to work on. I worked on 36 projects. That's a lot. You know, when you think about it, that's, for me, that is a lot. And so I was like, wow, that's not too bad. And 2 of those were unplanned starts. So yeah, it was good. 2, I'm ditching now. You've heard of one that I ditched, and I'm gonna show you another one that I'm also going to ditch. So let's just jump into sharing. So one of the projects that I just had a little tiny bit left to do on was called Honey of a Tiny Town. And all I had to do on this was stitch the yellow on that, and then 2 buttons, which I believe was one right here, that little yellow one, and this cute little white flower right there. And that's it. And I could not find this project for the longest time, and it's not ironed, so apologies for that. I couldn't find it. Well, found it. I found it in with the fabric. I don't have a large I have a fabric stash, and I'm not a seamstress, but I found it in because I was trying to clean up one day for something came up and I had to throw everything in. But this is the fabric that I'm going to finish this with. Let's see, how can we do this here? And I'm going to make it into a drum. That's how I'd like to finish it. So this little bit of, isn't that gonna be cute? On the top and the bottom of it as a drum. And then I've got some pins that I'm gonna put that together. So I'm hoping maybe I can do that while I'm off through the rest of the year. We'll see. That would be nice. The other finish that I had, and you all know, you've all seen this multiple times. Well, guess what? It's done. Dilly-dallying and lollygagging allowed. And this also, it's been washed. It has not been ironed. So, and I've got it folded up here because I'm going to show you. This is the frame that I'm planning on finishing it on. Isn't that frame cute? I've had this frame forever. So I'm gonna, I think, put this on a mat board and then put some cute fabric behind that. And then we'll finally get this done. And I just have to say, you know, some stitchers will say, oh, I loved every stitch. This was such an enjoyable project. I'm really gonna miss this. Not this one. This project was awful. I hated every stitch of this. I just wanted the final product. And I'm like, the stitches, I hate the way that they look. I'm not even going to show them to you up close because I really dislike them. The fabric, I had a hassle with this fabric. This is the third time I started it. And when I was up in here, and I put all of the floss away, otherwise I should have showed you, kept it out on, I actually have the pattern right here. So you see how this shows just a little yellow flower and some green, light green leaves, and this is orange up in here. There was no orange in the called for floss. So I had stitched all of that up there, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. Sure enough, what the example looked like versus what was charted was completely different. So I just took a couple of greens from my stash, and look at these buttons from, well, actually, this is basically this button, and this is a little square button right there, and I think, but I just used other buttons from my stash because what was for this didn't quite match up after I was all done. But man, am I glad this one's done. I'm so glad this is done. It was a hassle. Just a hassle. But I wanted the end result. So, and I think that the end result will be what I wanted. So, will the stitching be perfect? Nope. So, guess what? Since I'm off for another week, I'm going to dilly-dally and lollygag. Because that's what I love to do. Woohoo! So, this is another project that was worked on. And I'm not even going to share who the chart is from. But let me just share this with you. Okay. Can you see anything on here? This project is 10% done. And it looks like a big blob of nothing. Nothing. So I'm ditching it. And they're fairly new. They're on Etsy, so I don't want to really say, but yep, ditching that. I've come to find if something is really not looking the way I want it to, I'm not going to spend the time to see if it comes to fruition. And 10% in, and I should have been able to see something on here. And there was just nothing, absolutely nothing. And I was so kind of frustrated with that. So, all right, that's that. Let me get my tablet here so I can show you some of my PDF patterns that were worked on here. The first project that I'm going to share with you, well, not the first one. This is the first PDF pattern that was worked on. This is Love Letters Chocolate Shop by Amy Stewart. And I am up in here by this light and this door. So that's where we are on this. I did meet my goal for what I wanted to get to on this for the year, which was 2%, and I'm at 2.01%. And last time I showed this to you, I showed it to you sideways. So I'm a bit of a dork. So here's where we are. Here's that light the street light coming in, and you can see the top of it, and then this is the top of the door. So looking pretty good. And on this I have, let's see, how many, I only have 7,500 stitches in it. Yeah, 7,500. There's that one. Another project, oh, that was worked on, which I was going to tell you. I had goals for most of my projects for the year, and I had a bunch more that I was going to start. I've pushed those new starts into 2025, the ones that I wasn't able to get to. Most of the goals I've reached. Yeah, I've reached most of them. I have 2 more that I need to reach, and one hasn't been worked on this year. So out of 36 projects, so 34, because 2 of them were unplanned, that's not too bad, you know, it's pretty good. Okay, the next project that was worked on was Moon Hair. This is by Suzanne Geisman, which is a Heaven and Earth design, and I got in the top left, again, just up in here, and I've just started to get to that little yellow flower there, this cute bunny. And I don't believe I will be working on this next year. Here's where we are on that. Cute, 5%, because this is tiny. This is not a very big project. Let's see. It's only 49,000 stitches. So it's fairly small. Okay, another project that was worked on and the goal met. This is Spring's Renewal. It's an artisy pattern. And here's what the project should look like. And I'm excited because I was finally able to get down into the flowers. So I got most of the cabin in, and I just started working down there. And on this one, on Spring's Renewal, I'm at 15.04%. And here we are with that. Those pretty purple flowers are coming through. Yeah, 15%. I think I was at 10% at the beginning of the year, so I got 5% in. Okay, another project that was worked on is Mini Evergreen by Tracy Butler. This is what she will look like. Really pretty. Yep. And on this one, I got to 50.18%. And that fold is right on our face there. So we got quite a bit done. There was a lot of just kind of ninja stitches and filling in. Where I worked was over in here, these little gems, and then just kind of the end of her hat, and then along her neck here. So that, if you look at that, that's kind of dark here. So it's kind of just the shading of what her neck is going to look like. So hopefully this will stay. Of course not. Let me see here. There we go. Let's try this again. Oh, darn it. That's okay. Let's try this again. Can I hold 2 things at once? Okay, So I'm just gonna go back here. I think it's down in along here is where we're at. So see how that's really dark? And when I was stitching her earlier, and I've mentioned this numerous times, her face was really creepy. Well, because look at how weird that looks. But that's under her neck and the beginning of her collar. Yeah, under her neck. So it's the shading here. So I don't think she's on my list to do for next year. Let me see. Do I have her? I've got my no, she's not on my list to work on for next year. So we're not going to see her for a while. So it is what it is. I had to kind of put down a few, and maybe in 2026 I'll work on her, but it's just not going to be 2025. All right, and then another project that was worked on. This is called Sampler 85. It's by 2x2 Stitch Art. This is a mock-up of what this project will look like. And I was just working on this last night. And I got to 20.1%. So that's it, 20.1%. And those are two separate different blues. One lighter blue is the outline and a darker blue. What colors are these? Let me see. This will tell me. 161 and 336. So I was working on this portion right in here, and I'll be honest, I was getting kind of just over it working on it, and I wanted to meet the goal of 20%. And I got this done and the outlining, and I'm like, okay, I still have like 1% more to go. So I started this outline and whatever was in my Q-snap, and so I got all of those little outlines of motifs in, and I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta get in here too. I'm not sure how often I will stitch this, because I was getting kind of bored with this one. I worked on it 2 or 3 days and I was like, but I just kept persevering because I wanted to reach that goal for the year. It will be pretty. And I've never stitched anything like this before. So this is just a plain white 18 count Aida. Nothing fantastic, you know, nothing overly pretty or anything. Pretty fabric, I should say. Yeah, it's just not. So this next project is, you've seen multiple times. It is called Ottoman Tiles by the Vivsters. And this is what the picture will kind of look like. It'll be similar to this. So I'm stitching these triangles in with 939, and any of the oranges will be teals. Change those out to teals. And I actually worked on this morning. I'm going to reach my goal, and this is in a paper pattern. So and I was able to stitch this while doing a Zoom call with some of my stitchy friends, and here's where we got to. So to finish this off, I just want to come down here and kind of finish this, and that will be a page finish, which I can totally do because this is real easy. This morning I finished just stitching the 939, the dark blue in there. Yeah, so there we are with that. But this is really a good project for if you're visiting with different ones, so that you don't really have to think about what you're doing. So that one is another project that's going to be staying out, and I will get to the goal on this one as well before the end of the year. And then the last project that was worked on is called Woman in a Field of Flowers. And this is what the project will look like. Sorry. This is what it will look like. And I'm just up here in the top of that field of flowers. My goal is to get to 5%, and I'm at 4.07%. So, and this project is 160,000, so roughly 1,500 stitches. Yeah, 1,500 stitches, and that's where we are. Just still not a lot to see, just sky and the top of that field. So I'm thinking we'll just get all of this in, what I've gridded, and that will be done for this year's goal as well. One other thing that I forgot to share with on my last video, I did a planning video where I'm going to stitch 25 projects in 2025. Well, guess what? I only shared 24 projects with you. This is the other project, the last project that I'm planning on starting and working on next year, because this is there's that, oh, I can't remember the name of that pattern. It's by Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's a giant piece, and it was a stitch along, and it's huge, and it's gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, at first I saw it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for that. But now that I see it being done, I really like it. But it's just another super large project, and I didn't want to take on that. Then I saw Alara had pulled this out, and I'm like, there you go. That's it. And I think, now that I'm saying this, there's another Flosstuber, Leanne, Small Town Stitches. Leanne, she's so cute. I love her patterns too. I haven't done a Leanne. I love Leanne with Small Town Stitches. You know, she's got a garage with the motorcycle that she stitched for her husband. She just did a dinosaur, giant dinosaur for her daughter. But a lot of the other Stitches So Beautiful patterns that she does, or the one where it's God Shed Your Grace, which is I don't know if she's doing the Artisy pattern, but that's the name of the pattern, is God Shed His Grace. It's of a field with a house and a barn and the sun shining through. It's really pretty. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, I would like to start that, because it's really, really pretty. But anyway, I think Leanne is stitching this one I'm going to show you here. God, I just go off on these Flosstubers that I like, and I'm not sharing what I'm this last project, it's called Song of the Nightingale, and I think this is my color choice that I'm going to do. It's going to be a navy blue and 2 maroons. I'm struggling because I wanted the primary color to be a maroon or a red with a hint of blue, but I didn't want it to look patriotic. And I don't think that this looks patriotic. So, because I've been playing with this in my pattern keeper. Let me see, is it gonna do it? It's not gonna do it now. Whoops. See, here's another way I was looking at it. Can you tell the difference? This has more of a gray in it, a gray blue, but I think I like the other one better. So this is also going to be in the 25 in 25, because I've never done a modern folk embroidery piece. So this will be a fun one, and it's not going to be that giant massive one. It's only 24,000 stitches. So, all right. Like I said, I'm off for the rest of the year, or let's just say, I hope I'm off for the rest of the year. The end of the year, the books, I'm in finance, and we had to have everything done by the 20th, and it was a bit of a nightmare to get everything in 2 weeks ahead of time, and I was working 12-hour days, and just, so after that was over, I was sleeping because I was working so many hours and just nonstop. But I'm planning on the rest of my time off is to prep for all of my new projects, which I'm going to be starting 9 next month. Yeah. And the reason why I'm starting 11. Yeah, 11. And I put a little smiley face like this, like, oh, like, 11. I'm very concerned with how my year is going to be next year. I have an assistant, and this is kind of personal, at my job, and she went on maternity leave on the 20th, and she's not coming back until June. So in the state that she lives in, she gets all of this time off. I'm like, so I'm gonna be kind of on my own. Well, we've got a backup, but it's just not, it's not her, because she's awesome, and she's great. She's my right hand, and I don't know what I'm gonna do without her. So, and then there's other personal things that are gonna go on. So why I'm telling you this is I just don't know if I'm gonna have the time to stitch. And when I work on projects, I can't stitch 100 stitches on this and then 100 stitches on that one and this one and swap them out. When I finally have a chance to sit down to stitch, I'm working on one project and focusing on that, and then I'm done for the night. So I have another goal for 2025, and that is a no buy in 2025. And I did really good during Black Friday. Really good. I didn't buy anything, but I did buy some the other day. So these are my last purchases. And these things are still on sale if you are so inclined. This first one, it's by these are on Etsy, and this was only 73 cents. It's not even, you can't even buy a cup of coffee. You can't even buy a candy for 73 cents. So it's called Folk Art Bird and Berries. Can you see that? Or is it blurry? Isn't that cute? That's full coverage. And if I was to stitch that, I would not, just something whimsy and fun. And this other one, this is really why I went out there, because this is also 73 cents. So I don't know what it is. The euro or the pound and the dollar, they're almost the same. So I have a rubber stamp that I make cards with a lot, and it's one of my favorite stamps. Well, that's what this is. Look at how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? Yep, also full coverage. I like it. All right, so that's from Sydney Lee Stitchery, and those were automatic downloads. And then Stitches So Beautiful is having a half-off sale through, I think it's the 2nd, January 2nd. Yes, sale ends January 2nd. I think I told you a few months back that we repainted our house. Well, it's a dark gray blue, and red is my favorite color. and I have a red door. In fact, they repainted my red door, and the color of the door is caliente, which means hot in Spanish. So when I saw this pattern, I'm like, oh, it would be my little house in oh gosh, in the country. Oh, my brain. Sorry. Isn't that cute? That's my little house. If it looked like that. It doesn't look like that, but I think that's really cute because the blue and the bright red door, the Caliente house or Caliente door. This is by Ida Rosa from Stitches So Beautiful. And then this is really the one that I went out there to buy. I absolutely love this pattern. I am not going to start it anytime soon, but also by Ida Rosa from Stitches So Beautiful. And the pattern is called Serene Woman with Elephant. Is that showing clear on there? I can't tell. There, maybe that's better. Isn't that pretty? Ah, it makes me think of a bright future and a hope of one day living with animals and creation and things being very peaceable. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I love this. I'm not a real yellow person, but I really, really like this. Yeah. And going along the same kind of wavelength of what's in the future. If we had a world that was peaceful, unconditional, love with anybody and everybody, this is what I would think of. This is by Maya Stitch, also half off. It's called the Halfling's House cross stitch pattern. Again, this girl looking off into the sunset, it looks like. Isn't that nice? And I could add both of these girls to a wow wall of women. Wow. Yeah, it's really cool. And then here's my last one. I'm not gonna buy any more. And all of this stuff was cheap. It was super cheap. But this one I couldn't, based off of I'm not gonna buy anything, I had to buy this. And it totally cracked me up. This is by Putini. I will not buy craft supplies this month and other lies I tell myself. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything else. So that's it. I'm not buying anymore. Let's just say, let's hope I'm not. So thank you for joining me today. I will see you in January, probably late January. There's a lot of whip parades going on right now. I've been enjoying them myself. And thank you. Thank you for spending time with me today. Hope you all are safe. Hope you all are well. And we'll chat soon. Thanks, Flosstube. Bye-bye.